Well, welcome everybody back to SAI TV. I'm your co-host, Fanuel Muindi, and we am super excited today to be joined by Brittania Moodie from CYD,
Hi,
the
everyone.
Caribbean Youth Development Institute. As you may recall, I told you guys about 2 weeks ago that she was going to join us. Well, she's here and we have the questions for her. And so let's just going straight to it. First of all, welcome, Brittania.
Thank you for having me, Fanuel. It's a pleasure. I'm happy to share any knowledge and anything I could, give to the community.
Absolutely. So please tell us about CYDI. What is it? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so the Caribbean Youth Development Institute, we are an organization that really tries to empower students to have the confidence to navigate life. And we're currently doing that through our major project, hashtag Project Navigate. And I think for this particular project, we're focusing on equipping the students with 21st century skills, which are so critical in today's, life. I think also we try our best to provide virtual experiences for students. In particular, our audience is, primary school students located in Jamaica currently, with plans to expand to the immigrant community here in the US. So we're super excited about that. And we provide online resources that are tailored specifically towards the experience of like Caribbean youths and their educational needs. So that's
And
in a nutshell who we are.
and that's actually fascinating. And so when was it started?
Yeah, so this was started 2 years ago. And the reason why we started initially was we recognized at the start of the pandemic just that lack of accessibility for our Caribbean youths. And so for me growing up, it was important to have access to those resources, and we wanted to build a platform and to spread awareness, because I think awareness is a hidden privilege that many people have, but they're not too aware of it, ironically. And we wanted to ensure that these kids, they have access to different opportunities, resources, and we don't want them to be limited by what they see in their communities, but to give them a broader global perspective. And that's really why we started and how we started at the start of the pandemic 2 years ago. So,
That's fantastic. And you have a
yeah,
co-founder, I understand,
yeah,
right?
I do. My co-founder is Sashua Milton, and we've been the ones primarily working on this project. And we also added one of our other really close colleagues and friend, Naomi Wrightson, and it's been the three of us as the core team. Throughout the process, we've had other people who have volunteered and been a part of building it. My family members and people that I know have really contributed a lot to our growth so far. But primarily it's been the three of us, late nights, long meetings, building and as we go along.
And talking about building and growth, where are you now? Well, what's happening now? We're just coming out of the
Yeah,
pandemic, and so
yeah.
what's the plans? Yeah.
Yeah, so right now our main focus, like I said earlier, is our
Mhm.
project hashtag Project Navigate. And really the reason why this whole thing came about is during our workshops with our students during the pandemic, recognizing the real needs of our students. I think, as founders, as anyone who is in this type of work, it's important to ask questions and see what the students need. And for us, through those conversations, we recognize independent thinking, critical thinking, learning was something that the students lacked. And they have a really difficult time transitioning to high school, from primary school or middle school as we know it here. And so we really wanted to form a project using stories, something that we found throughout our workshop iterations that really worked with the students to help them grasp these concepts, how they can have them in realistic scenarios, how they can do that through, mentorship. So the project has a lot packed into it, and we're super excited about that. Needless to say, we got funded, which is exciting news. And being a part of the SAI Fellows program was really what pushed me to like write this grant and apply. It's been an amazing journey, and we're lucky to have this project being funded, and working on that is our main focus for the next 12 months.
And as any founder can tell, funding is really hard in this space. I mean, in any space actually, but in this
Yes.
space in particular as well, there's little money available.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so getting some is, I think, a
yeah,
big ordeal. Tell us about
yeah,
that. Wow,
yeah.
just give us a sense of what you felt like and how you feel
Yeah.
like now.
When it started, we were just funding from our own pockets. We would apply to like micro grants, a part of different organizations and people in my network that I knew. And I think it's also important for us as founders or, professionals to tap into our networks to kind of find those areas. But it's been, receiving the funding was, oh my gosh, you got this funding, but oh my gosh, now I have to do work. And how do we manage the funding and what does it look like to draft these reports and report back on what we found? It's been a challenge, especially, I'm funding international initiatives. That's a major challenge, especially if you're located here, because not every funder wants to be a part of that. But luckily there are few, and there's some that you could find that will fund us. So I think that has been our biggest challenge to overcome. And so thinking too how we could take our work and apply that in different communities, that it could be impactful, is also another part of what we think about as we, consider funding principles and how we impact more students that really need the help and with the work that we're doing.
Okay, and in a short form, what does impact mean for you and for the organization?
Yeah, I think that question kind of comes back to, how we measure, what our success looks like. And right now it varies, I think, from project to project. My hope is that with this particular project, since it's, more skill-based, 21st century based, we want to measure, how confident now are these students as they go through this program and now are put in this new environment. Are they using those skills? And, for example, are those students willing to be persistent after failure? Comparing that to their baseline. I mean, the first time maybe we gave them a scenario. They tried it once and then they said, miss, or I don't understand. I don't think I'm going to do it. But after learning about the different aspects that we plan to, showcase to them, they're like, okay, give me a few minutes. I'll try now. I think that's a good level of measuring, confidence. Another way that we measure impact or, or growth is just how many people are using our platform. That's something that we did in the beginning stages, measuring monthly. How many users do we have? Have we seen a growth in users? Where are the users located? That was kind of our thing, but we're also working through what that really means, right? I think that's a question you have to always ask yourself as founders and, as we do these types of works. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot there, and we want to keep talking to Brittania. So don't go away. We're gonna be right back. Special thanks to our contributors and donors who make this work that we do here at SAI possible. We encourage you to visit our website to learn more about these funders that are foundations, they are individuals, they are companies that have sponsored the work, they've sponsored our residents. And so if you want to become part of that group and help us accelerate the work that we do here in supporting our residents around the world, please do get in touch, visit our website. There's many ways you can get involved and be part of this movement to support this exciting group of individuals that are making a difference out there around the world. Thank you so much again for considering and becoming a member, donor member at SAI. And welcome back. We are talking to Brittania Moodie, the co-founder of CYDI. She's been telling us about new funding she has received and all the challenges that come along with that, with new dollars, as of course. Yeah. I wanted to get into in this last segment here about you, Brittania. As a co-founder, it's never easy running this or any organization, and you have a lot of things on your plate. As we were chatting last time with Adriana, she has also a lot of things on her plate. How do you do it?
Priorities, prioritizing, and as a founder of, something that you really want to see grow and work, I think understanding, how to deal with life changes as they come, but also how do we prioritize, I think an important thing that I had to learn is delegation, trusting other people to be a part of the project and letting the vision go, trusting that it will work. And so, as a person, I'm working, I do research. I'm a cell biologist. I also am doing a master's, I'm also the co-founder, and, I am the one that runs the workshop many of the times, with the students. I also meet with teachers. And for this particular project, what's really exciting is we're adding to the team. And so by adding to the team, I'm able to more delegate, prioritize, and lean on those in my network who I can trust. Like Fanuel is a really good mentor of mine now, and I'm super happy to have met him. But so yeah, that's kind of how I do it. Yeah.
And what's your advice for other aspiring founders and co-founders, especially given you are working internationally, right, across borders? Any advice there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Being here in the US, and then working abroad is challenging when you don't have people present there. And so my advice is to find people you can trust on the ground if you can't physically be there, because that's really critical and important. Even if you're a virtual organization, it's just important sometimes for people to see people that represent you, represent your cause. And that's super important. I think just talking with people to come up with ideas and solution is important, because I know I go back and forth with Fanuel a lot about what should I do? What do you think of this? I lean on my teammates, people, my mentors, my family members and friends have a really good support system, and lean into that and trust your gut sometimes. Sometimes it's just, do you really think this is important right now? And if it's a yes and you feel pulled to do that, do it, and commit to it, but also take breaks and, have some time for yourself. And I know we talk a lot about that. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, taking breaks, I think, is important. Easier
Yeah.
said than done. Absolutely. As a founder myself, I absolutely can relate to that. Yeah, and we can just keep talking all day long. Of course, right? Of course we can do that. So what that means is that you're gonna have to come back.
Okay.
I am
happy to come back.
And we're gonna dig deeper into Project Navigate, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's some of the audience are wondering, what is Project Navigate? When is it gonna launch? You guys are in this growth mode right now. What's the next year look like for you? I think there's so many wonderful questions. However, we have run out of time for today. Okay. If you want some more, well, tune back for next time. So this was SAI TV. Brittania, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.